Hello to all of you out there, my friends, in this mystical land of tubism, YouTubeism. I, YouTube is practically all I watch anymore. There are some things that they're still making out there that we watch. Uh, some of them I really care about. Some I don't care that much about. I just watch them just to watch something else. But you find all kind of interesting things on YouTube. And that's why I watch it. And that's why it's out there. I recommend that you go to YouTube. And there are many other places where you can watch news of all sorts. And I'll say, even today, after the election, you watch Fox News all you like, and uh, and you watch all the other networks, and you check them out. And I think if you'll actually do that, you might be surprised, or you might not be. Some people are just so closed-minded, so sure that they're right, they will not see anything else. I like to think I'm not that way. I have voted Republican. I have voted Democrat. My wife this election worked for one of the Republicans locally, and it's a tricky situation when you start thinking about what party you belong to, because if you think about party, you're not thinking about an individual. You start going to a party, you start thinking who all's going to be there. When there's one person there that's hoping you're thinking about them and them only. And maybe it should be the case. But you need to look at an individual and not what party they belong to, because it makes a huge difference in the way we see things and the way we feel. Nobody's always right, nobody's always wrong, but sometimes the difference between good and evil is so out there that there's not much argument on which side you may fall. I don't want to fall into that. I really don't. I do want to plug my book, The Offspring of Ignorance. It talks a lot about this kind of thing. I really think you would enjoy it if you go out and buy it. Several people have bought it, read it, so they really enjoyed it. Like I said one time, I think somebody said it was too controversial for them, religiously and politically, but I just want to make you think. And I hope that's what I do. I hope you'll buy it. Hope you'll read it. Share it with your friends and neighbors and relatives, all that kind of thing. And then my wife's book has nothing to do with politics and religion. She's just a good Christian woman that wrote a good book, and it's good reading, and everybody says so. She sold many copies, and they have really been paying the compliments to my wife about her writing, and I think I've mentioned that so many have asked, when is she going to write the second part of that book? And she won't even tell me. So anyway, those two books, Leaving Small Town by Sue Guy, The Offspring of Ignorance by J. Milton Guy, all to be found on Amazon. Somebody asked me, I guess trying to get a rise out of me or something, but it's not going to happen. But somebody asked me, why did you on a couple of occasions refer to Trump and people of MAGA as pigs? I'm not about to start letting up at this point. I think it's even more important that I do not now. But I think of the idea when pigs wrestle or whatever it is they do when they're out there rustling up against each other and seem like they're fighting sometimes, but when they wrestle, they all get muddy. All of them. Even those who watch too closely. If you're standing by and watching, you may get muddy too. After a while, you can't tell the pigs from the humans. I've been there. It's fun. It's fun. But not in this instance. Now, somebody said to me, after the things you said, I think you owe an apology. Referring to anybody in the Republican Party as pigs, and Trump as a pig. And I gave it a lot of consideration and thought that that's not me. I really shouldn't have said the thing I said, and I really want to apologize. So here's my formal apology. To all real pigs out there, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Now here's some things just to contemplate. Just observations. Not making any accusation, not alleging anything. I just making observations, something for you to consider and think about. We all need to know about things, about what went on, what's going on, what's going to happen. But back in 1923, Adolf Hitler went into the main political arena in Munich. He walked in with a gun and he got up on a chair and he fired a round into the ceiling. And he made an announcement, paraphrasing, of course. You know how everything comes back to you from the German, and it's hard to even interpret it. But what he was saying was, today we are taking over the government. This is the start of the revolution. This is the beginning of the Nazi regime. Fortunately or unfortunately, there was some men that happened to be in there that were part of the regime of which he was going to overthrow, and convinced him that they were behind him 100%. And Hitler fell for it and gave him a little bit of freedom, and they got in touch with somebody else that informing them what was going on, and Hitler and his crew were arrested. So the attempted coup failed. In 1933, Hitler made a comeback, and he did become head of the German state. He did become head, Führer of Germany, head of the Nazi Party, man of the Third Reich. He made that comeback. If you think about it, it's kind of like Trump, only Hitler went to prison for a year after his attempted coup. But, that's the only difference, though, right? I watched, not that I liked it, I thought it was a good thing to do, but I watched as Russian television, their main station that puts nothing on the air without the approval of Vladimir Putin, showing nude pics mocking our beloved First Lady on that major Russian TV channel that had to be approved by Vladimir Putin, mocking her. They were actually seen trying to hold back their laughter. I'm talking about the commentators. And I thought to myself, why help put the man in office and then mock him and his lovely wife Melania? Well, because that was his plan all along. The top mouthpiece for Vladimir Putin on television and in papers said to Donald Trump's regime, Don't worry about those that Trump feels he owes because of debts he happened to attain during the election by making promises and all this. Don't worry about all that. Not that he'd ever would repay them anyway, or would have awarded them in any way. But they were said, don't worry about the debts you accrued while you were on your way up to winning this election. We're the reason you managed to be put back in office, so just worry about that. And we expect, in so many words, to be compensated, awarded. Now, that's all I know. I know that happened. I'm putting it out there as an observation. What did he do? What did Vladimir Putin do to think that he had Trump over a barrel like this? It's an observation, one we should all make, and I'm not going to say worry about, but think about. You see, the fact of the matter is, whatever alliance Putin had with Donald Trump expired on November the 5th, when Putin knew no more aid would be going to the Ukraine. And he knew it. Oh, you know, things will come out and things will be said, but nobody will do anything on the side of the Democrats. Nothing. Until we have some proof. And I don't know if we're going to get that proof. I don't know if there is that proof. But you won't see just on a whim do something stupid. You'll not see Kamala Harris rile up a crowd and storm the center of our government with sycophants and thugs. No, she and we are much better than that. And just as an observation, it's always said that prosecutors, they keep their evidence close to home. And I don't know what there is or if there is any. But I do want you to remember as an observation that Kamala Harris is a prosecuting attorney. I was asked by someone, going off of something I had said, things I had mentioned, asked by someone, where is this Project 2025 thing you keep talking about? Trump's talked about everything else, what he's going to do and what he's not going to do, but he had a vision 2025, Project 2025. Really? I want you to make another observation. And I want you to think. Cabinet appointments. I'm not going to call their names. I'm not going to advertise for them. But if you listen to the news, you know the names by now, and the names and the people that he's putting into these very, very crucial, very sensitive positions. And then you ask yourself, what two things do they all have in common thus far? One, none. Like never before, when cabinet positions were being appointed, never before, like it is now, none are even close to being qualified. Matter of fact, for some of them, it's just the opposite. Shouldn't be, but it's just an observation. And the second thing they all have in common so far All are yes men extraordinaire. They thrive off the teats of the main pig, and they'll only do that. You see, it has to be, or there is no Project 2025. I've asked you to read it for months now, or to check it out in some way. Whether you have or not, I do not know. But it could not come to pass without those yes men and those know nothings in these positions. This is another observation as we settle back in a time, and there are no sour grapes. I'm sure there are among some, but I feel like I don't have time for sour grapes. I don't have time to start digging into little things that I hear. There are people a lot more qualified that may be doing that, and so I don't have time for those kind of things. But I want you to think of this word, all of you out there who may feel somewhat the way I feel. The word is orenda. Orenda. O-R-E-N-D-A. Orenda. And what it does, that word, embodies the concept of spiritual power, innate, I believe, in all of us who have opposed MAGA and Donald Trump from the very beginning. It is a Native American word, particularly from the Iroquois peoples, indigenous Native Americans, and other surrounding indigenous American of that time. But it suggests, if you study more into it, it suggests an interconnectedness. It's a long word. Interconnectedness. It means that you're not alone. We have an innateness in us that tells us things, spiritually speaking, so to speak. Not anything religious, not anything godly, not anything biblically, but something within us, the people who feel the way we feel. It's called orenda by the Iroquois Indians. I should say Native Americans. But it suggests that interconnectedness. It's like a collective consciousness that we share. And according to the in-depth studies into orenda, that concept is telling you whoever you are, and it's telling me we are not alone. And why do I say that? Because I've talked to so many people who feel like they are so alone. But you think of this word orenda. It's a very special word. Look it up. I'll use Donald Trump's words to his sycophants and thugs. Stand back and stand by. We have lots of time to be patient. Lots of time to be patient. And when I say be patient, I mean at the same time, think of the old story about if your boat is sinking, pray, but bail water while you pray. And that's one place where that orenda will come in, that interconnectedness, how we all feel, not knowing what to do and not where to go, and feeling of being alone. Oh yes, that orenda I spoke of also suggests and implies the innateness within. That innateness tells us what is good, and what is evil, and to recognize them immediately, and when to pray, and when to bail water. Be patient, my friend. We'll know what to do when the time comes. And we can pray while we're waiting. But whatever it means to you, we also need to be bailing water. The word of the day is either Orinda or patience. If you would, hit your like button, your subscribe button. Subscribe to my podcast. It'll help me out a lot if you would. And I've mentioned Tennessee Brando and Texas Paul and Midas Touch Network, Adam Mockery, one of my favorite, Jess Dollimore, Michael Popak. These people will tell you, if you listen to them, but if you will, you go to their sites and give them a like and hit their subscribe button. They're great Americans, and they're doing great things for this country. And their word to you today would be either patience or Orinda. Man, I like Orinda. I love you all, and I'll see you next roundup.